little things that you think nobody cares about, they care the most about, because we're living in a society that is like, I don't care that you're tight at music. How are you as a person? Would I kick it with you? That's why they're following you on Snapchat, why they're following you on Instagram, because they want to know more about your life and who you are. If you can't show them that, it's going to be a struggle.
You know, for artists, it's easier for them because they're putting their voice in their music, you know, so it's easier for them to tell their story and people can relate to them by hearing their music. But for producers, you know, if our goal is to build our brand just like artists do, we got to figure out other ways to do that, because that doesn't always necessarily translate through our beats or our music. You know, some producers do have very like distinctive sounds which you can recognize right away, but like Curtis said, like we gotta find ways to tell our story. You know, we gotta find ways to tell our story and let people connect with us in other ways and other mediums and other, you know, visuals and stuff like that. So it kind of requires us to think outside the box and figure out different creative ways to tell our story, just like artists do. And I think that's so important.
That's brilliant. And you reminded me of something too. Whenever I'm asked about, you know, how do I brand myself? The first thing I tell people, do the Halloween test. And they're like, what is a Halloween test? If you wanted to be Tupac today for Halloween, what would you wear? You would have the bandana. You would have the leather vest. You have the tattoos, the chain, a specific chain, right? If you want to be Biggie, you'd have the Coogee sweater. You know, if you want to be Little Yachty, you know exactly what to wear for that. That is a strong brand. All of those are strong brands. And I'll probably get crucified for comparing Biggie, Tupac, and Yachty, but you just heard that right now. But the idea is that your brand must be so strong. And the thing about it is, you don't have to be anybody except for yourself. I got a buddy of mine named Burbs. He's really known in the LA music scene. He always wears a red beanie. No matter where he goes, he wears a red beanie. I can be him for Halloween, right? Payne. I could be Payne. I could be Kato. There's certain things that make us so unique to who we are that when we embrace it, and once we're the first person to realize that, everybody starts to now attract to that. Because then it becomes, okay, if I like your brand, if I like what you stand for, how can I be more like you? Oh, buy your merchandise. All of a sudden, these crown hats make sense to have. All of a sudden, it's like, I look at myself as what I consider a producer-nor, an entrepreneur and producer together. So how can I become a producer-nor? Well, I'll wear the uniform of a producer-nor. Well, I will articulate myself. And I think now, honestly, what's happening is that so many producers are realizing they got to get from behind that keyboard. You no longer can you know, put a few records out, because they've seen producers come out, put records out, have #1 hits. I had a dude, I don't mean to bring it so much, but I feel like it's such an important story. I had a homie that I used to work with, had the #1 record on 106 in Park. And he sat there and watched that video from his lunch break room. Looked at his coworker and said, man, that's my beat. He said, that ain't your beat. He said, how you know that? He said, because you're here. Had he had a strong brand, there'd be no denial about what that is. Who did that beat? Oh, I know you did that beat. I saw you behind the beat video as soon as that song came out. That's why when I know I got a placement coming up, best believe I already got a behind the beat video coming up right there in the right there in the chamber. All I need to see is an album cover. I'll just insert that, render it, upload it, it's ready to go.
What's the daily Curtis King regimen? I asked Kato this way back before I was even a part of Beat Club. Just because, and I wonder this because I feel like I'm working 13-hour days, and then I look at you and you put out a blog consistently every day. You know, you just wrote the book. You're active on social media. You're a father. You're updating your beat page regularly. So, what a day in the life of Curtis King? How do you segment your time to devote all of your attention to all the things that need to happen?
No matter what I do, I got to make 1 beat a day and 1 video for my YouTube. If I don't do anything else, the day was a waste. When I set that bar, everything else becomes icing on the cake. I have to acknowledge the fact that for the last 2 months, it's been the first time I've had a team. So I think people are experiencing, and it's something I learned also from the 10X rule from Grant Cardone, which is an excellent book to read for producers. get the unabridged version too. One of the things he says is that if you want to spread your business in whatever particular market, if you want to become a powerful voice within a market, you need to find a way to make your message omnipresent. It's got to be in multiple places at the same time. So once again, going to the whole concept of whatever you fall in love with that's attached to my brand, that's cool, as long as I put it out there in the universe. So for me, it starts off with just one beat and one video from my YouTube. Get that done. With the team now, I have somebody that's my social media manager that basically will send out these tweets on a regular basis. All he's doing is repurposing videos that I've already done. I already have 400, 500 videos in the bank from my YouTube. He just repurposing them, giving it to an audience that I never really shared it with. Like that YouTube audience I built was all internally within YouTube. So I'm repurposing that. I got 2 video editors who, for the last 2 months, all they've been doing is pushing out Instagram memes, basically repurposing the same content, right? So I got that going. The thing about it is all I'm doing is posting one post a day on Instagram. But the fact that it's coming at the same time every single day in a very strategic time, because I see my business statistics of when people are the most active, it seems like I'm doing something every day. Like, man, you stay busy. And then in the midst of that, I slowly built together this book. I wrote, a few paragraphs at a time. A few paragraphs at a time turned into 2 years. And then when that dropped, it looked like, damn, you got a book too? I've been slowly working on all of this. It wasn't this thing where I'm like working 24 hours a day. No, I'm getting sleep. Well, not with the newborn, but I was getting sleep. I was getting sleep as much as I could. And now it's to the point where it's like, it's such a well-oiled machine because I know what I want.